Welcome back, everybody, to the League of Inches podcast, our round 14 TLT and Supercoach chats. So a bit to go through, but we're going to be super quick with this one, guys. We are being smashed so far this week. We want to just get a little bit of rest. It's the Origin Eve when we are recording this, so get a good night's sleep and get ready for a huge day and night tomorrow. So we'll quickly smash through this, and the other reason why, because we do know that quite a bit will change after Origin in terms of players perhaps being rested, or some might be playing that we thought were rested, and the like. So there's a lot to sort of talk about, but probably not as much at the same time, if that makes sense. So got Jesse as well. It's quickly go through on the weekends. So let's just quickly paint the picture to everyone. So in all the comps and stuff we're in, pretty much every comp was on a bye. Not our drafts. Our drafts are different. I did have a win in draft. No, I lost in draft
You
actually.
lost.
Yeah, I was human for once, but hey, it's all good. In the normal Supercoach Classic games, but we're in one comp that was still playing. Shout out to the Supercoach Experience. He runs this cash comp that we're in, and we had to actually verse each other. And I remember saying last week that I was in this weekend, but I wasn't going to like sort of tear my team apart to make sure I could score some decent points. And then halfway through the weekend, when I'm checking the scores and I'm realizing I'm up against Jesse, who looks a lot stronger than I did. I had about 4 more players, I think, than me at one stage. So
Yep.
it wasn't great. So Jesse did end up getting me in the end. I think I ended up getting just under 700. I think I got like 690 or something. But Jesse, you obviously went quite well.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of buy-round planning, mate. I've only been telling you for a month and a half to get your team sorted, but nah, it should be right. So, yeah, no, it was a good win.
Expert.
Yeah, it was a decent score. I scored just under 900, so I climbed up as well. Climbed up the rankings. I'm, I think, 2.5 now, a bit under 2,500 overall. So, yeah, it was just a good week. I got a draft win, which was nice in one of my leagues anyway. But yeah, can't complain. Can't complain at all.
Can't complain at all. We did say, guys, we're going to be get through this quick tonight. So the first game, it's Friday 8 p.m. So no Thursday night game this week, guys, and no early Friday time slot either. For the Dragons, Ben Hunt, Lomax, and Sua are chances to back up. They've been listed on the extended bench. I think the fact that it's pretty much a 2-day turnaround for these guys, I've been leaning more so on the side that I reckon they will get rested. I don't anticipate either of these 3 players actually playing, because all 3 for mine will probably play close to 80 minutes. Ben Hunt maybe a little bit less, but he's playing hooker, and perhaps I've heard some rumours, maybe get a little bit of a forwards role with the lack of forward options for Queensland as well on the bench. So see what happens there. Apart from that, it's just basically the same 17 that beat the Panthers on the weekend and have a bit of confidence, a lot of those young guys. So good to see that. And for the Tigers, Justin Olam is back. He returns from suspension. Alex Lobb comes in for his second NRL game. He'll push Charlie Staines into the centres. Alex Twal played last game at lock forward, but due to David Clemmer's suspension, he will actually take over the prop position, with Alex Seafarth will start in the back row. Isaiah Papali'i to miss the next 2 months through that injury. In case you have forgotten about that, that's big Supercoach news. And Ruben Porter will make his NRL debut at 27 years old. The back rower, who has played 4 tests for the Cook Islands, will come off the bench. So a little bit of news to go through there. Obviously, the Tigers coming off the bye on the weekend. I kind of forgotten just how depleted that side had become over the last couple of weeks. So anything you want to touch on for this game, Supercoach wise, Jesse?
Supercoach wise, not too much to be fair. I have a feeling that we're going to see Lomax play for some reason. I don't know. I just don't know if they'll run with the 2 Figo brothers potentially, but either way, the side did well last week, so you can't really knock them for naming the same squad anyway. DeBellin, still a monster, still a great Supercoach option if you're looking at getting anyone in the props. But yeah, no, for the Tigers, they do have a pretty depleted side. Matamua starts in the 13, so that's something to keep an eye on. But that 13 spot's just been rotating all year with those guys. There's so many options for them. And yeah, Alex Lobb, second game. I'm a fan of that guy too, so it'd be good to see him get a decent run. But yeah, no, outside of that, they're not doing very great. So yeah, but great
That,
coverage now for the next what 10 rounds,
yeah,
13 rounds, I think, for the Tigers. So yeah, Samuel
who do
Finu
you want?
looks great. Yeah, he's the only one I'm
Yeah,
fancying at the moment, Fanu. So
yeah. Don't mind that one at all. Obviously, starting in the back row and still a decent price, may I add. First of the Saturday games, the Gold Coast Titans up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs up here on the Gold Coast. Um, Jaden Campbell has been named on the extended bench, so keep an eye out for him. He has been out with that knee injury, but is very close to returning by all reports. Um, Keanu Keeney is the fullback, so just he's in a bit of form, so that might help him maybe push this back one more week to make sure they don't rush Jaden Campbell back, but just keep an eye on the late mail. Foran's back from his hamstring injury. Philip Sami and Jojo Fafita also returned to the back line. Mo Fodawaker has been named as a starting prop. So that extra day, the 3 day recovery, might see him start. I'd be very shocked if that doesn't mean he goes.
mm,
If he does play, he'll probably start from the bench, in my opinion, and
yeah,
go from that. I don't think he'll start. Bo Firma played centres last week, but he goes back to the back row as well. Keenan Palacia dropping to the bench. For the Rabbitohs, 5'8", Cody Walker is back in the lineup, but he goes to the halfback position and they get Jack White at 5'8". So we're going to finally see that halves pairing. I think it'll probably be quite a decent halves pairing for the Bunnies moving forward. Um, and Richie Kenner has recovered from an injury, back in the lineup at left centre. What's screaming out at you here, Jesse? It's probably a guy called David Fafita. I do know he has quite a big BE because I was looking at him today.
oh,
Um,
doesn't I don't think it matters. Honestly, I
yeah,
think break even 104 from what I was,
yeah.
if I can remember it from. Yeah, there you go. Um, I still think he's a great buy. I'm going to get him in this week. Little spoiler alert for tomorrow's potty. He's coming straight into the side.
Oh, fuck's
Might be
sake.
13 rounds too late, but I'm doing it. I'm ripping that off, and no, he's a welcome addition. Another one too, Keon Koloamatangi as well. He's I think he's got a negative break even now, or very close to it. The you know what, the Bunnies are starting to look good in their own right. So their side's a lot stronger than it was when they were struggling pretty hard. Admittedly, they've been struggling for about a year and a half, but um, yeah, I can only see them getting better from this point on. I think the halves are probably the best pairing they've had in about that year and a half too. So um, Latrell, solid pick. I have to really be in a different sort to look at any of the halves at the moment, but I do like Kaloma Tangi as well. He's a solid option for he's in the 500s too. If you look at it buying him in, I think he's a mad pickup. But yeah, for feeder weapon, he's coming in. But yeah, no, I do think that Campbell's there. If Jane Campbell's fit, like you have to expect him to start. But Keeney's been very good um, in his replacement. So yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get a run, considering he's ready for it. But yeah, I just feel pretty rough for Keeney. He hasn't done anything wrong. Um, yeah, he might get a stint. There's that many injuries for the Titans too. Like there's that many players they could have out. You could try and plug him anywhere, but I just don't think like obviously there's a blaring hole in their 5'8" with Chris Randall sitting there.
Mm.
So you'd think maybe potentially you'd be looking at you know, Campbell comes into the 5'8" spot, but yeah, I don't know. I'd be more likely to see that and Keeney hold his position, I reckon.
Interestingly, Tanner Boyd's actually on the extended bench as well. I've just realised. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's played that badly that Des won't bring him in to the side. I think for a couple of games there when he was playing 5'8", then 4 and was the halfback, it sort of started to look like Tana was getting a bit better. So
Mm,
he might even be a late inclusion into this side as well. I'm not too sure. So
yeah.
um, yeah, I basically agree with you. I'm looking at David Fafita. I don't know how I can make it work price wise at the moment, but
There's a
it's
very
scary not
easy
to have
way.
him because I look at the next two games, the Rabbitohs this weekend and the Tigers, into the Warriors, which will be the next Origin affected round. And I keep saying it, he'll be in a Queensland team. So you're getting him for a 2 week period, then you're going to miss him for 2 weeks because you got the Origin period, then they got the bye as well in round 17. So it is the next 2 weeks I think points are going to be very juicy for him, very very juicy. But you also need to realize that you're going to be a little bit stuck for 2 week period there with
If
old
he gets
David
picked.
Fafita. He'll get picked. I 100% think he'll get picked. I
Yeah.
already think Billy's probably thinking I've fucked up here. Their
You
bench
reckon?
just doesn't
Yeah,
look
it's
right. Without
it
him
needs
there,
him.
it just
Yeah, definitely needs him.
I can't believe it.
We'll
Anyway,
just have
we've
to see how
spoken
game
enough.
goes. Yeah,
Yeah,
could speak all day.
we'll see. We'll see how what we don't want to jinx it because they'll probably come out now and Cobbo will brain it from the bench tomorrow night. But next game, the Cowboys against the Warriors. For the Cowboys, Toddy Payton has literally put every single Origin player on the extended bench, so not in the starting side. Starting side is um, exactly the
Depleted.
same, actually. As it looks depleted, but it's exactly the same as last week's team, which actually beat your Sydney
Yeah,
City Roosters. So
yeah.
pipe down over there, Jesse. That depleted side embarrassed your
Uh,
still semi-star-studded team, may we
yeah.
add.
I
So
know. I know.
not not
Shocker.
not great. I want the Warriors. Look at this. The Warriors bring half their bloody team back. This
Yeah,
is
what a side.
looking quite fearsome straight away. This is a tough one to tip, or I'm going to call this early and say this is probably the hardest game of the weekend to tip. Aiden Fanua-Blake's back. He's still down over, obviously, against the Dolphins a few weeks ago. He's now back. Charles Clockstad, Rocco Berry, Kurt Capewell, and Wade Egan all return. Johnson still seems to be at least a week away with that pec injury, if not longer. There was some whispers around this morning about him potentially being back this week, but it obviously has not happened. So the Warriors are looking a lot better. Look at that
Mm,
two ways because they're younger guys that were coming in and having some experience were hungry, and they looked a better side with some of these stars actually not there. So it'd be interesting to see if these stars come back and they feel like they owe the club a bit now, and they owe these young guys that have come in and done a job for them while they're out. Hopefully they come in and they brain it because I still rate the Warriors as a side this year. I still think they're going to be up. If they're at their best, they can be right up there. But Supercoach point of view, Jesse. I don't think we can talk anything about the Cowboys really at the moment, any
not
options, because we just
really.
don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think with the Cowboys, like obviously they've got their entire Origin side selected on the extended bench, and I don't know. I'd be very surprised to see Robson particularly come through, considering he's probably going to play 80 minutes. Ruben Cotter's probably going to cop a beating. I did hear some stuff about him potentially expecting a baby as well, very, very shortly. So there's one to keep an eye on as well. If he is fit to play and he just gets pulled because of his wife, you know, can't knock him for that. Congratulations if it is actually going to go down like that. But besides that, yeah, Val Holmes, Nanai, there's some good options, but again, it's very hard to pick because you don't know actually who's going to get put in the side. So I think, yeah, at this point in time, I'll probably be tipping the Warriors, but providing the Cowboys field a decent side, I might flip flop. But super coach wise, I think there's a lot of relevancy in the Warriors at the moment. They do have a decent little stretch coming up and a fair bit of coverage, I think, for the next 5 rounds. They just don't play 19. So Tamari Martin, massive break even, dual position. Um, how long he holds the 7, probably a week, maybe 2 at the latest. And then does he go to the 6? Does Harris Tavita drop out? It's kind of risky, but yeah, if you've already got him, I think it's great. I don't know if I'd be getting him in. I don't mind Chance again. Like I don't think he's really done anything bad at all this year. I think he's actually scored pretty solid, 70 plus almost every round. So um, yeah, he's not far away from getting a dual 5.8 too. So that would have been really nice. Dallin again, I don't know. You're burnt by him, so I probably wouldn't even want to mention him. Not going to touch it. Jackson Ford starts number 10 though, so a little bit different there. We'll have to see how long he keeps that, but yeah, the side is much better than it has been for a few weeks on paper. But yeah, they've been able to get a couple wins. Like a lot of the young boys have been doing really well. Torpiki's gone, so he was so solid too. It's just, I suppose, where do you put him when the side looks good? But yeah, no,
I
it'd be a good game.
I agree. Now, off air, we promised each other we're going to try and keep this. No, we're not. We're not going to try. We're going to keep this to a 30-minute episode. So we've got about halfway mark now, And I've got a talking point in this next one, so we're going to have to try and get through this talking point because I think this is going to be appealing to a lot of people out there. So Broncos versus Sharks is the next game. So here's your first hint. It's regarding a Sharks player, an Origin player as well. So for the Broncos, Katoni Staggs is back from the rib injury. The Origin quartet of Walsh, Cobbo, Huss, and Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan have all been named. See what happens there, because pretty much they've named a lot of coverage on their extended bench for all four of those players. So just see how they get through. Once again, it's the same old story with these Origin teams at the moment. For the Sharkies, it's pretty much the same team as the weekend, apart from Cam McInnes will come back into the side. The big
Talakai.
Talakai comes onto the second row starting for Teague Wilson, who is out as well due to a shoulder injury. Nico Hines, not named at all, which we did anticipate would be the case, especially with this niggling injury that he's been carrying now for a couple of weeks. Quick question to answer here before you get stuck into it. I'm sure you're probably going to touch on it. I think it's time to get off Nico for now. And I'll probably get back on after Origin. But I think use his money while we can.
Yeah, I think so too. This week it's not dire unless you want to break apart $1 million, which is huge. But yeah, he's not going to play this week. He'll play against the Dolphins potentially. I'd be surprised if he doesn't next week, and then he's gone again. And there's a good chance that he's rested again game after that. So for the next month, you might get him for one game, and for that game, he's got 198 break even. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'd love to hold him, realistically, because I am going to get back on him straight after Origin, or when his price settles. And even if it doesn't, even if he has 150 break even and things look clear skies after that, I'll be getting straight back on him anyway for the points. But yeah, I think it's probably fair. This is the best time to do it. It's the most justified time to trade out Nico Hines because it's so much coin. It's so much coin. You're going to go into a period now where you've lost a lot of players. Potentially, you might not be able to field your full tide this week, or you might be one or two players short, and you're a little bit short coin. If you want Fafita this week, there's your avenue very easily to get an extra few hundred K if you need it. I think there are good options at the moment too. It would have been nice if SJ was available. I probably would have done that this week potentially, but again, it's always a bit risky getting onto a guy straight after his injury. But yeah, we'll get to the Dogs game. Burton's there. Jerome Hughes, I already got him in last week, so I'll be riding him through. I think he's probably the best one because you don't have to worry about it too much for a long while. And then obviously Mitch Moses killed it last week as well. I just don't know if we don't. I reckon he gets selected at some point for the next two games somewhere. So he's another one too where you take that risk. You get him in now. He does have a low break even. Looks fantastic too. Far out. Obviously, he got a point to prove now. He's got to dig his side out of a hole that he left him in, unfortunately, when he did his foot. But yeah, I really like the trade to Hines, to Hughes or Moses. But Moses has just got that cloud over him. You just don't know. But it's kind of the week to roll the dice on him. So I'm with you. But I've got my two trades already, and it doesn't involve Hines. So I'm like, oh, do I boost?
Shit.
Do I boost out Hines?
And you can get rid of Fafita without boosting and using the Hines cash.
I can get Hines Fafita in. I can get Fafita in one move. I just got to say goodbye to Angus.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Why not? What's not to know?
I can't. I think he's keeper all year. Crichton.
Yeah. That's right. I'll get him back with my Hines money, and I'll use Fafita for a couple of weeks, and then I'll flog off.
I hate you sometimes. I really hate that you're like. You're always 2 steps ahead of me, and I'm fucking over it.
I'm also about 13,000 ranks above you too. So
thanks for that.
That's right.
That's it for the episode, guys. Thank you for listening. I am over it.
Nah, you're all right.
I dropped 4,000 on the weekend as well,
Did
so it was
ya?
great.
4? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So I'm back up. I'm back on the 20,000.
Oh, good.
Anyway, we're talking about Teamless Tuesday, guys. We're really loving it. Sunday game, Melbourne Storm versus the Newcastle Knights. Featuring the boy that we are wanting to. Oh, you've already got in your team. I did have this as my first choice guy looking at the Storm's run coming up, and the fact that he provides coverage over the next bye period, I think is fantastic. Will Warbrick is out with the groin injury. Grant Anderson jumps onto the wing. Bronson Garlick joins the bench. Um, Origin stars Harry Grant and Xavier Coates have been named to back up. So keep an eye on that. I actually feel like both probably will play. If anything, maybe Coates might not, but I actually feel like Grant is almost a lock to play. It's a Sunday
Yeah.
game, so plenty of time to recover. He's not going to be doing the hard stuff in Origin. He's coming on after that early bash up period, so I actually feel like they'll play Harry Grant.
Yeah, I reckon so.
The
I don't think
Knights,
he plays
yeah,
more than 40 minutes in that
yeah,
game.
I think
So,
he'll be good. He'll probably get he'll probably get rested during this game, but I reckon he'll do enough against the Knights to
yeah,
score decently still. For the Newcastle Knights, no changes despite absolutely shocking display on the weekend. I don't know what Adam O'Brien was watching, but I would have probably torn this team apart. Maybe that's why I'm not a coach. Will Price is on the extended bench. For mine, he should be the sixth, Jack Cogger to halfback, as just one of the handful of changes I would have made. But anyway, um, nothing for mine from a Knights point of view speaks to me whenever we speak Supercoach. You've already mentioned him. Like I'll echo what you said. Jerome Hughes looks like
yeah,
for mine the best option at halfback. If you haven't got made any so far, I do understand what you're saying with the you can hold for now, just because of the whole Dylan Brown having that halfback position now has
true.
helped. I've found quite a bit. Um, Longo, I still love that I have him, and I'm just looking at these sorts of matchups against like a Newcastle Knights team and
Oh,
just thinking,
so
I'm
good.
so glad I got you in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't know how much longer we have to enjoy it. Maybe
Yeah,
a couple of weeks, but for now, I love it.
yeah.
I was stoked. I went straight to the Storm matchup just to see, and I was like, yes, thank you very much. I'll take that one home. But yeah, Jerome Hughes, gun. He's been very good this year with Wishart too. Wishart's also been very good too. To put it there. So if you wanted to save about 300k, there's another option for you. But I just don't think he does as much with Hughes there next to him. Um, with Hughes, you are buying him in expecting to lose a bit of money as well. Like, I'd be very surprised. Oh, you know what? It's the Knights, so maybe not. He's got 117 break even. But yeah, who cares? Here's what it is. I think at this point in time, you sort of just look at the player and the quality, and you want their points now. The money will come when it does. Like, I'm not racing to get low break evens in anymore. But outside of that, yeah, Eli Katoa as well. I haven't really spoken too much about him lately. I've sort of forgotten that I've had him for about 2 months, but fantastic. He's a gun. So he's another really good option too for that storm coverage if you need something in your second row. You don't want to risk for feeder. You've got a couple of holes being burnt with any of your Raiders and any of your Roosters too. So I think yeah, he's a very easy straight swap. And yeah, for the Knights, David Armstrong. Yeah, obviously that game was shit. They all played really pretty bad. I think the only player that actually did decent was Pierce Paul, which is just a consistent, chip away gun that we've sort of stashed away for a while. You don't have him still, do you? No, never got on him. So yeah, no, he's been really good. Dylan Lucas as well. He's been really good too. So dual center, I think he's a good option, but he's a bit dear now. He's quite pricey with the rest of them. So yeah, look, man, they can't play as bad as they did last week. But then you see the Storm, and the Storm are at home. I think we might see a repeat potentially. Got a few of the
I
Storm boys,
don't have
so
I don't have
I'll
Kai
take it.
Pearce Paul. I have Burbo still. Up
Yeah,
Burbo.
up the Burbs.
Well,
I've still got him too.
yeah,
You know what? And he's still making coin as well. So
yeah. I'm still playing along with the old Burbs, and I actually think I might have to play him this week. So please manage something,
yeah,
Burbo, please.
yeah, God,
Um, Penrith. And why I'm saying this is because the
speak
next
up.
game is Penrith versus Manly. At Bluebet, Penrith were look. I'm going to go out and say they were embarrassed on the weekend. I know they were without some of their stars, but they expect better of themselves than what they threw up. They started the game quite well, and I thought, here we go, they're just going to get through the motions and probably beat the Dragons by 20 odd. But the Dragons kept in it. Credit to them, but Penrith would be embarrassed. So a bit of mixed news. Brian To'o, Luai Martin, and Isaiah all named, pending what happens after State of Origin. Fullback Dylan Edwards suffered that quad injury in camp. He's on the extended bench. So I heard rumors around that if Origin was later in the week, like a Friday night game, Edwards probably would have played still. But the fact that it was a Wednesday and they just he didn't want to risk it. That's why he was out. So apparently it's not that bad. It's just we'll see what happens there. I don't think they'll play him. I don't think you'll risk him this
No.
weekend against Manly. And for mine, Dan Laurie, look, I don't think he did too much wrong. Like he wasn't the reason why Penrith lost on the weekend. So I'd probably be happy and content if I was Ivan Cleary to just let Laurie have another go. Apart from that, there's a couple other little changes. There's just like, please go and have a look. There's a few more that I can't read through, and we are running out of time. So we're trying to help. We're trying to stick to our word for once, guys. I'd really like to.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. For Manly, Hopewadi has kept his spot at fullback. So all those that got on Tulatai Cooler, he's back in the centres. So he doesn't get that fullback time. So glad I never ended up going on that. I remember I was pretty much there, all for it. Then he got injured, laid out, quickly reversed the trade. Off I go. Tommy Talau shifts to the wing. Vega out. Cherry Evans has been named to back up. He normally does back up as well, I'm pretty sure. So he's like, he prides himself on that sort of stuff. So I believe he will play. Jacob Arthur is actually unavailable as well due to a foot injury. So that probably tells us even more that Cherry Evans will play because they don't have a halfback option to come in for him. Humphreys comes into the side for his NRL debut. Sipley returns to the 17 as well. And Bullymore to the reserves. Still no sign of Lachlan Croker either. But the mid-season signing of Jake Simpkin, he's on the extended bench, so he might make his way late into this team. But I reckon normally you give these signings like a week or two in reserves and stuff, and they might come on and play. What are your Supercoach thoughts around this matchup?
Jack Cole. You hit jackpot with him. Fantastic. Yeah, so good. Huge break even. Gun.
Finally.
Looks good. Looks good. You got to take a win where you can get one, man. Yeah, bloody still cheap, man. Still real cheap. Cheaper than everyone else. So I really like him still even. Far out. There's you. If you got Dylan Brown, just put him at half and go Nico Cole. Bank yourself about 700k. Have some fun with it. Yeah, that could be good. Surprised to see Liam Martin named as well. I saw Garner signed a new contract, so we'll just see. He might get swapped or dropped out, considering. But yeah, Schneider did not play very well, so fair to see Cole rewarded with his starting spot, which is nice. Yeah, and same as Hopewadi too. Had a really good game at fullback and decided to keep him there. So it's awesome signs. But yeah, I'm really unfortunate for Cooler. And yeah, I was kind of hopeful to see Garrick again, but I don't think we're going to see Garrick at fullback anymore, unfortunately. I think that ship's kind of sailed. Outside of those guys, yeah, all the Origin players backing up. I think that was kind of expected considering it's a late game anyway. But there's our boy Burbo. Hopefully going to do some things. I wouldn't expect it, but I never expect it from him, and he kind of pulls it out of nowhere. You never know.
Yeah.
Could be a 20 or
especially
it could
the
be a
hard
7.
games I've noticed this year. The harder games, I put him. I don't play him.
Yep.
He ends up getting like a 60. I'm like, oh, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake! And then I put him
He
up
just
again.
goes-
It's a good matchup, and he'll get a 20. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I
sake,
know. Or
Burbo.
something will happen, and he'll shift into the centers, and he'll go missing for the whole game. Or he'll just score a try, and you're like, fuck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't do it. But yeah, another quick little shout out. Liam Henry made an ungodly amount of tackles, man. What a gun. He has been insane. I wish I had him. Honestly, I wish I started
I did
with
have
him.
him, and then I got rid of him. So
You got rid of Liam Henry.
yeah,
Did
I
you?
don't know what I think. I thought I think back then he peaked in price or something, and he had like a
He was
decent
off for a
break
bit
even or
too.
something at the
Yeah.
stage. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I ended up changing him out for I don't know what I did. I think I
Far
ended
out.
up getting him to Cotter actually at some point, and I just was like,
Oh,
yeah, I'll just
okay.
use that. So
Well, reverse it. Go back. Get him
yeah,
back.
go back in time.
Yeah.
Last game.
That's
I
it.
don't know if this will feature any sort of state of origin news because it's that lot that it's almost the next week. Doggies versus the Parramatta Eels. Or you shout out to you New South Wales folk, enjoy your public holiday while us Queenslanders just slave away. No public holiday for us. Awesome, love it. So I'll be racing home to make sure I watch this game. No working late for me on the Monday. For the Dogs, Crichton is named. Kraz actually his return pushes Kraz back to the wing, which is fantastic for myself as a Supercoach owner. Adekar's obviously ruled out for up to 10 weeks. That's a horrible hamstring injury.
Yeah. Big
10 weeks
time.
is a long time, but that's good news for Blake Wilson, who replaces him. Burton will return to the halves as well, with Sexton winning that jersey now. So Drew Hutchinson is out and he's just on the reserves. He's not even on the bench. So
Yeah.
Sexton, I've liked what I've seen from Sexton so far the last couple of games he's played. I think he just adds that little bit more to their attack. For the Eels, Bailey Simonson ruled out with that ACL rupture for the remainder of the year, which means Sean Russell goes to the wing and Blaze Talangi, he's back for those that held on to him. Fortunately, that was myself because I forced into basically other changes last week. Otherwise, I probably would have gone, oh, please. No, I probably still would have kept it because I know there's money coming, but now we can
Mm.
start to see that coming in, which is great news. Center, and I personally think he'll be there for the remainder of the year, so we should be able to get some decent numbers. This week's a hard one because he's going to be up against Stephen Crichton, which he's a gun defensive center. So might be a tough one for Blaze this weekend, but we should reap the rewards moving forward with some easy teams coming up. But then there's a killer draw, so just be careful with Blaze and
Yeah.
when the right time is to get off because I don't think he's a keeper till the end. Apart from that, Hopgood has been named. He's coming off the bench, so I anticipate him to basically start and get through majority of that 80 minutes like he does week in, week out for the Eels. Got anything for me, Jesse?
Well, a few things actually. Just have to see how relevant it is. But for the Doggies, yeah, Karaz for back to the wing, huge. Blake Wilson has been very good when he's played on the wing. Early, I think it was very early in the season, probably round 1 through to 4 potentially. I think was when he was playing, and he was just bagging tries, man. Every game, bagging tries. So I think he's a great player. I think he's a very nice little backup to Adokar if you've got one. You're right about Sexton too. Just been better than Drew, so can't knock it. Sam Hughes starting. I don't think that means anything for Sam Hughes, to be honest. He played what, like 16 minutes. So yeah, that prop rotation is very confusing. Tricky one, but yeah, Preston 2 tries looks insane again, and I reckon we keep him. So that was a good little trade for us last week. Got away with some mad points there. For the Eels, yeah, shit, man, they've turned it around. It's been one game, but there is a few things starting to look right for them. So it's kind of what you wanted to see because
Brendan
the team,
Haynes.
Brenton
I
Hands,
do
yes,
not mind that.
yeah, he's made a world of difference. Just distribution wise, they just look like they knew what they were doing for once. So yeah, it's a good thing to watch, especially from your side, I'd imagine. I reckon, probably Paulo drops back to the bench. Offengawi starts. Lane's been coming through the middle. I think what did Trent say in the interview? Doesn't have to think or something.
He doesn't have to use his brain. Basically,
Well, there you
he's
go.
not the
No comment.
brightest.
Oh, I thought that was golden. But
It
yeah,
was,
Bryce
and
Cartwright.
Gutho was
Look, yeah,
cracking up.
yeah, big time. I think for a Supercoach side of things, yeah, obviously Brown and Moses, you can't go past either of them. Blaze Talungi will make his money. I like him in the centres. I think he had those really good games early on in the centres too. So, and I don't know if opposition makes a big difference because they've had hard games already, and he's played fullback, and in a belted side, he's scoring 100. You know what I mean? So he's obviously not going to get that kind of ball, in the centres, but he can still do a lot with it. Just has to see if he can sort himself out defensively. But yeah, I really like Bryce Cartwright. I think he's quite cheap. I think he's got huge upside. Last year he was playing, playing his best footy, and now he's offloading again. So maybe he just loves playing with Moses. Maybe he's like, I'm not doing anything without Moses next to me. So yeah, really good to see it. But yeah, Bryce, Mitch Moses, Blaze Lungy, all good if you've got him. I reckon big time.
Yeah. I'm actually keen to see how Blaze can perform with the likes of Moses and Gutho around him to help give him some better ball, crisper ball, a bit
Yep.
more space as well. So it could be a very good thing. And who knows, he might become one of those holder sort of players. He could be like an Eero at the moment for those who have Eero, and he's continually scoring quite nicely at the centres
Yep.
and becoming an urgent sell anyway. That's pretty much it for this show. We did promise that we'd get to it quite quickly. My obviously it's now the tradie show, guys. Normally the Wednesday night, it's probably one of our most popular shows now. It's quickly turned into it. Obviously we won't be able to do it tomorrow night or tonight whenever you're listening to this for Origin purposes. If you want to get involved with the show, a few of us are going to jump on straight after Origin and do a quick review show. It'll be about half an hour. It'll be a live one, so YouTube and Facebook. If you're going to have a say, if there's some outrageous calls or there's probably always going to be something in Origin. There'll be everyone fired up. It's going to be a huge show, I anticipate. So come on, have your say, give us some support. But the tradie show, I feel like won't happen this week. We might be able to add some content. Maybe the Thursday, I might have a chat with Jesse off air, see what we can do there, even if it's just some posts. And again, in the subbies group, we'll do some exclusive content as well. So if you haven't already, become that Facebook subby for only $2.99 per month. No locking contract and like that. Get out whenever you want. Just helps support us and go in with there. So, got anything else to add, Jesse, before we sign off?
Nah, what's the thing? I actually blanked for a minute when you were mentioning
Yeah.
the tradie show's not on tomorrow. I was like, holy shit, that's right, it's not. But yeah, we might tee something up for Thursday potentially. We'll just have
Yeah.
to work it amongst ourselves. But yeah, no, get ready for Origin. Up the Blues and fuck Queensland, as I like to say every year. So sorry for the Queensland fellas out there. No, I'm
Yeah.
not. One time a year where I don't care. That's it. God, I'm
Oh,
excited.
I hope you
God, I'm
hope you've
excited.
enjoyed, guys. As always, hit like, add some comments, and give us a subscription. It means a lot. But see you tomorrow night if you do tune in. Up the Blues, and up Supercoach.
That's it.